Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So information is nothing new. It is there inside the data, but it will be difficult to obtain most of the time. And that's where you need the tricks of data science. And these tricks of data science, if you use it over and over, you actually call them as methods of data science. Okay, methods. And that is the task of a data scientist. That's the task of a data scientist. Okay. Given the data, you get the information. So somebody must have collected the data, or you are interested to get that information and you collected the data, or you got it from some repositories. And using the data, you do the tasks, some tricks, and get the information. That is that, in a nutshell, what a data scientist do. He's not creating a new information from out of the air. No, the information is hidden in the data, and that is exactly what he's trying to extract from the data. And the better you are at extracting the information, the better you will be in data science. Okay. So that is the role of data scientist. Now, who will give you the data? Well, if a company has a database, then you should have a database engineer who will be giving you the data. Data engineer will give you the data. Or the company might have some persons who will be working on collecting the data. Okay. Or maybe there are repositories from where you can get the data. Now, in the last class, we discussed two websites related to data science. Do you remember the name of those two websites?
Kaggle and
Kaggle, that's one, that's correct.
KD Nuggets.
KD Nuggets, yes. Okay. So these are the two websites which have some information of data. The another one which I'm going to show now is also something nice, and we are actually using this website a lot in our course. Let me erase this first. So that is a UCI machine learning repository. It is from University of California, Irvine, and that's something huge repository. You have so many data sets actually, and it is very standard repository. If you have a new, let's say, plan to or a new idea or a new trick to analyze the data, you can get the data from here for free. For free, you can get the data, and you can test your trick. If your trick does something better than the existing methods, then yeah, you will have a name in data science. Maybe some company would like to buy your idea. If you patent your idea, you can sell it, and then also you'll make money and things like that. So yeah, so this is the repository. We use it in our course. Actually, it is part of the case studies. We have the data coming from here. Okay. So anyways, sorry. Okay. So you will have some data. If you are given a task for data scientists, you'll have some data. Either it could be from database or collected or from repository for free or for paid. But you will have data, and then your task is to get the information. That is the data science. That is the data scientist typical role. Okay. Now, why this role became popular? Because of this concept of data-driven approach. Okay, because of this concept of data-driven approach. Now, as a human being, we make lots of decisions. Lots of decisions we make. Okay. We have seen in the last class some simple decision like, do you remember an example of a simple decision in the last class?
To attend to the class or not?
That's yes, that was one decision. And then choosing a major, it's one decision. And you also had an, I believe, the example of umbrella or not. Should I take umbrella to the park or to the ground or not? It's also a type of decision. Okay. I think we discussed this in the last class. So there are many types of decisions that you make every day, and not only every day, every hour, and maybe every minute or every second. Some of the decisions you do by intuition, and some of the decisions you make by looking at the data. So it's a data that helps you to move in a particular direction, and that's why these are called as data-driven decision making. Okay. So when you look at the data and try to make decisions, that's where you are looking into the data-driven approach. And sometimes making decisions from the data will be easy. Just by looking at it, you can do. Sometimes you need more because sometimes it's hidden, and then you need the tricks. Then you need those methods of data science. For example, let me give you a simple example. Let us say you have in a restaurant. Let's say you are trying to make a restaurant, and there are in a day you have let's make it very simple. Okay, let's make it very simple. um, let us say you have 1,000 customers who come for coffee in your shop. You are trying to create something in the locality, and you saw that every day you have almost 1,000 customers for coffee, and then almost 70 customers for tea. Okay, 70 customers for tea. Okay, now imagine that these things are so costly, and the resources are costly. Just keeping them in your shop may not be that worth it. So if you plan, let us say, to expand this coffee shop, what will you add? New flavors of coffee or new flavors of tea?
Flavor of coffee.
Okay. Why that answer? Why that conclusion?
Because coffee is more
Popular, right?
yes.
Coffee is more popular, so you expect that you will have customers who are coffee lovers. If you have new flavors, they would be interested to try the new flavors, and maybe that will immediately sell. Then getting new flavors of tea, maybe nobody will buy that, and it will stay in your stock. So you are looking at the data and coming up with this conclusion. That is easy. Now, because the data is so small, you can do that. But imagine now you look at a typical restaurant, and things are not so easy. Okay. Uh, for example, things are not so easy. You don't have just coffee, tea, and things. You have so many items. Okay, so many items, maybe hundreds of items. For each item, you have the demand. Okay, for each. So like the same thing, like here you had coffee, tea, and then you had the demand. Here you have so many items and so much demand. Then can we do similar analysis just by looking at it? Just by looking at 100 or 1,000 numbers, can you do similar analysis? No, it's something impractical. So you need to do something more than looking at the numbers. That's where those tricks of data science will be coming up. Okay, you need to do some data science tricks. Okay. Yeah, if you have more data also, that's good, but then you need to have some mechanism to analyze it. You need to have some data science methods to analyze it. And that's how this data science became so popular. In the references, if you go at the end of every slide, there are references. And here, if you see, there is this paper by this guy, Steve. In this paper in 2009, almost I think like 12 years now, he showed that how some companies they have advantage over their competitors because of this data science. Okay, because of this data science and optimization. And thus data science, they call it as business analytics. And he's the guy working with IBM, and IBM at that time was doing lots of business analytics. And that's how the company was standing ahead of the other competitors. Okay. And this paper gives all the nice things that IBM did, and in 2009. So imagine how old it is. So that shows. Okay. That shows how useful data-driven approaches are. And the more data you have, sometimes you cannot make easy decisions, and you need some tricks of data science. Okay. Are you talking to me, Turkey?
No, teacher.
Okay. All right. All right. And the last thing that we have seen in this chapter is the life cycle of a typical data science project. The data science project ends with the discovery. Somebody have some experience. Somebody has some experience, or maybe he looked somewhere, or maybe he had this. Maybe just he just thought of it just randomly, or uh, he has some reason, and that reason led him to believe that you can do something with the data, with this data, and get something useful, something that you can sell in the market, or something that from which you can get some credits, acknowledgements. And that's where you have the discovery, the first thing. And then you begin the data science project, and the data science project will end in operationalizing, or materializing of the project. Finally, it's like a product that's being sold. In between, you had so many steps. For example, the moment you discover the data, the moment you have the discovery that is related to the project, the next thing will be what data you should have, or what data you have, or from where you can get the data. You can either collect the data, sorry, this one is okay, maybe I'll use a different color. You can either collect the data, or you can either get the data from the database, or you can get the data from the repositories. From the repositories, you have to pay sometimes, or sometimes it is for free. So there are different channels from which you can get the data. Once you get the data, as a data scientist, you try to see what data you have. You try to understand the data, and then you try to see what part of data you need, and you prepare the data for the next phase, which is the analysis. Okay, so you try to understand and prepare the data for the analysis. Once that is done, then you plan. You try to see what are the best methods that will work on this data. What methods to follow, what methods not to follow. A sequence of methods or sequence of things that you plan to do is called as workflow. So that's the plain that is the phase where you try to see what should be the workflow, what are the things that you are planning to do. Once you are done with the plan, then you actually analyze the data and interpret the result. Okay, and if you have some nice results that can be plugged into the system, you will do that. But you will do it with a pinch of salt, in a sense that you don't implement it on the real system. You implement it on something small scale to make sure that everything goes fine. Why? Because whenever you model, there is always some assumption. And that assumption might give you results that may not be suitable, or may be suitable. So you have to check whether the result that we get is applicable to the real system, or do I need to bend down things here and there, or no. All these things can be known only if you do it in a small subsystem. If you do it in a big system or actual system, and if it has some negative effects, it will be a disaster sometimes. So you do that modeling, analyze and interpret the data, and do all the modeling, everything here. And if you found something good, then you communicate the results to the next in line, maybe your manager or the client, your client, or some whoever is in charge. And if those guys like your suggestions, then they give the funding to make it operationalized. It will be like a thing now, something like a product that you made. And that will be sold in the market, and from there somebody might get another idea, and the cycle goes on and on and on. At this point, sometime after communication, maybe instead of going in this direction, you can also go reverse for updates. For example, once you communicated the items to the next in line guys, they may say, oh, you have to change this, and then you have to change from the data itself. You have to have a different data, that's one thing. Or you have to have a different set of methods, or the method that you selected you have to change. So you have different ways from here that you can move, and all these different directions will give you different cycles. So in a nutshell, as a data scientist, you are working with data, and your sole purpose is to get the information. And it is popular thing due to the data-driven decision-making, case studies. People realize that data gives you more insights than experience. Experience is important, no doubt. Nobody is saying that experience is not good, but it says that data sometimes can bring you something that is sometimes missed through experience. And finally, a typical data science projects, if you are involved in a data science project, typically you should find all of these phases. Sometimes the discovery part is given, it's done, or part of the discussion. So from the data and design part, maybe you have to continue. But these are all the stages of a data science projects that you can find. Okay, and this is where we stopped in the last class. So any questions, any comments before we proceed to the next topic? Any questions, any comments?
So there is nothing on the Blackboard notes.
Yeah, the comment section, yesterday the guy was busy, so because of the registration. So let us hope that there will be comment section soon, and then I will upload. I have uploaded the syllabus in our section, but the
Yes.
slides will be uploaded in the comment section.
When?
I will call the guy, and the moment he make the comment section, because comment section is something that we have to make it. I cannot make a comment section. We have to ask the DAD or ICTC to make it. Okay. So hopefully they will do it today.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Any other question? Okay. If not, then we will move to the next topic, which is a Python review. Okay. So we are working on this chapter. Actually, I just had a couple of tasks, and then maybe we'll have some more tasks, and it's a small chapter on Python. It is very good that we are going to have some review, but mostly learning new things along with that. So what I want to do now is to work on these tasks, questions together. So I want you guys to turn on your system and start Jupyter Notebooks. If you plan to use Google Colab, it's fine. But I strongly suggest that you guys, if you haven't, if you're focusing towards VBA or any editor, PyCharm, all this, for the purpose of learning, I think Jupyter Notebooks are very good. There's also one more, Jupyter Labs, but still, it's slightly, an experimental type. So Jupyter Notebooks are very good. There are many features actually that comes with the Jupyter Notebook. And maybe as we proceed, we'll see all those features. Okay, so everybody with me, you guys have Jupyter, empty Jupyter Notebook running in front of you.
Can you wait 2 minutes just to open?
Okay, yeah, and we want to make sure that everybody here is ready. Okay. All right. So let us start with this set of questions and then proceed. And what we'll do is like this. I will give you can see the questions, so that should be okay. I will quick question now, and I want you guys to give me the answer in the chat box, and let us see how fast and how we do this. Let us start with the first one. I would like you to create a list containing numbers from 1 to 5. That's good. That's good, Kumail. Anybody with a different style? No other answer? Only one answer? This is not good. Okay, that's an answer, but there is an issue with that answer. Did you try this in your Jupyter Notebook, Hadi? Did you try this? But there should be some error, right? With that, there should be some error. You got no errors? That is fine. Yeah. So what's the error? The error is that list is a reserved word. So if you have a reserved word as a variable name, then the Python will be throwing an error. Okay. Okay. So sometimes the setting.
Doctor?
Yeah. Yes.
We can also use it or make it using the while, right?
Yes, any loop should be fine, or you can just write it just in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How about the second one? How about the second one? Okay, that's right, Muhammad. Azam, I think your answer is for the first one. That's right, Kumail. Okay. All right. Yeah. If you can do for 5, then just bullet number 3 says to do it for 50. So what will you change if you want to do it for 50? Yeah. Instead of 1 to 6, it will be how much, Kumail? Yeah, 1 to 51. Now we are going to learn something new. That is something that we haven't seen in 104, which is list comprehension. Okay, which is list comprehension. So how this list comprehension going to work? I will just copy code from one of the code. For example, I'll just get the code from Kumail, the recent one. So this is something nice. You see, in Jupyter Notebook, I can have my main notebook working on. I could open the Scratch, work on it, and just close it. So this is just a nice. There are many nice things in notebooks. So please, if you haven't, if you are in using the editor, don't do it. All right. Okay, I need to print it first. Print. Let's make all the names the same. And this one should be 51. Now let us see. I mean, when you created the list, what you did, you created an empty list. To create a list, you created an empty list, and then you use the append functionality of the list to add the numbers to the empty list. Okay. Now, from now onwards, whenever you want to make a list, please remember this. If you want to make a list in Python, you have a nice technique called list comprehension. And of course, using this list comprehension, you can create the generators and many things. But at this level, remember that whenever you have to make a list in Python, all you need is a list comprehension. How does that work? A list comprehension is like this. You start with a bracket and end with it, and inside you have some things to fill. It has two parts. Okay, the list comprehension has two parts. The first thing is what you are appending. For example, here I'm appending I. That's the first thing. The second thing is the for condition, the for loops condition without the colon. Okay, that's it. That is the way to create the list, and this way and this way are different. Sorry, I was trying to have lines here. This is something that the idea here is that you are just writing a code, and this say you're not thinking like a Python programmer. You're just thinking like a general programmer. So you write the same code in C language. You can write the same style in Java, in any other language. It will work. But this is something that is unique to Python, which is list comprehension. It has a simple technique. You have two major parts. Okay, in simple form, you have two major parts. The first one is the element that you like to append. The second one is the loop that generates those elements. Okay, the number of elements are coming from this range. And now if you run, you get the same. You get the same. And you can see for yourself that this is more, if you have a code, this is much more readable than all of this. Okay, so that is the list comprehension. Okay, that's the list comprehension. Now using this idea, so let me now remove this or comment this. I don't need this. Using this idea, tell me how I can get a list with the square of the numbers. Square of the numbers. Should I change the element, the value of the element, or should I change the loop? What do you think should I change? To answer question number 2. Yeah, I should change the value of the element. That's right. How should we get the value of the element in the list? Okay, so Mubarak gives the answer. That's right, yes. So I could have I multiplied by I for square, or the power operator, I could do it. And this will give me the list with all the squares. Okay. So remember, list comprehension has two parts in the simple form. The first part has to do with the elements, the second part has to do with the looping. Okay. Okay. Now, how about this? Can you write a code that answers this? Create a list, let us call the name of the list E square, which has only even squares of numbers, 1 to 50. Not all squares, but only even number of squares. So how to create such list, E square? You don't have to use list comprehension. That's fine. We are learning list comprehension. So whatever idea you have, just it should be workable idea, okay, without errors. Okay. Any answers?
Wait, does he mean like the even numbers from 1 to 50, but the squares of the even numbers?
Yeah, the squares of even numbers. So what is create a list? Yeah, the squares of the even numbers. Maybe the wording is messed up. Yeah. So which has only the squares of even numbers. Yes. All right. So I have now some answers. Let's look at the NAF answer. That's correct. And also Hadi's answer is maybe Hadi, you should start with any. Yeah, I think it is fine because use 2, so minimum is 2. I think it's okay. Yeah. So we have some answers, some actually interesting answers. One of the answer, let me just erase my scratch paper. Yeah. One of the answer proposed by Naif is to have a condition here. Okay, to have a condition here. The second answer, which is also right from Hadi, is to change the loop itself, which essentially is doing the same. So that's good that we realize that if you want to change, the change should be on this part of the list comprehension, not this part. Okay, this part of the list comprehension. So you can follow any change. For example, here I'm going to say for I true is same as 0. So what I'm saying is when you are finding the values to append in the list comprehension, accept only those values to be append if the values satisfy this condition, which is simple condition. Okay, and with this now you have the 4, 6, and so it's a square of the even numbers. Anybody has any questions, any comments on list comprehension so far? Yes, he actually did it. He started with 1. That's why it is okay. Yeah, Naif, in regular loop you put this, but in the list comprehension, you don't put it. This statement here is loop for the list comprehension. By writing if after for, it is like you're saying in this for loop, the values on which you are iterating has some restriction. Only you restrict on those values which satisfy this. Okay. Yes, Faisal?
So the first one is the appending, right? The I
Yeah.
square.
Yes. Yes.
And then in the middle is the loop, and the last one is optional, right? It's not
Yes.
always there.
But yes, true. But I think in the last class I experienced this, so it could be confusing. So remember like this, that you have two blocks. One block is what to append, okay, and then another block on what values to enumerate. So here I would like to append every time I square, and this blue one tells me which values and how to get those values. Well, it's based on the for loop and if statement, or just the for loop, or you could even have your own function. You can come up with your function that has some complex condition instead of this condition, and then you can say like if that condition is satisfied. For example, here I would say here if some condition, let us say my condition, some function that I make which has input I is true, or even I could return true or false from my function, and I could write my condition. So there are certain things to append, there are certain things to control the loop, and you have to remember which side to append or which side to change. Okay, and we'll have some more examples, and we'll see these things will get clear inshallah by this slide, end of the slide. Any other questions? Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Hadith's code had an issue. You have to increment by 2. That's right. I think I missed that part. Who said that with 2? Naif sent it. Naif code was okay. Yeah. Okay, I got, yeah, it's okay. No problem, no problem. Anyways, so the for loop is nice, but remember, whenever you have to make a list by in Python, the way it is to be done is by list comprehension, and that's why the name list comprehensions. To make the list, the Python have this syntax. Okay, list comprehensions. So please remember, whenever you have to make a list, think about list comprehension. There are many nice things about list comprehension. First of all, the code is very readable, very compact. By making it compact, you are making it more readable, less errors. Okay, less errors, and that's good in coding. Um, uh, it should not be, if you want to have different lines, that's fine, but it's so easy and so neat. Have less errors, and that should be good. Okay, you are not creating empty list, and you're not adding elements to the list. Everything is done in one single shot, so it will be also fast. All right. So we are done with this, right? Yeah, the next question, and before even asking the question, Faisal gave the answer, and Hadi is right. Yes, to get the length of a list, all you have to do is you have to say len, and you will get the length of the list. So if you have multi-dimensional list, the len will give you the outermost dimension. Okay, something somewhere. Okay, I forgot here. So here is len, it's 25. Okay. So len will give you the outermost dimension. So if you have a list of just numbers, it is the length of the list. That's right. So find the length is done. Now how about this? Find the position of a particular element in the list. So the element is 196 and the list is E square. Okay, the list is E square. Okay, that's good. Naif. The second line print statement is right. So all you have to do is you have to use dot index. Okay, print E square dot index, and then here you can write number. That is easy. How about this? Check if the number 576 is inside E square or not. So that's E square, and I can see it visually, no doubt. But if you have a huge list, that will be time consuming. So how to check if a particular element belongs to the list or not? That's good, Mubarak. That's right. So you use the in operator. You see, in operator is being used almost every time in the for statement. What's the purpose of in? It is just to check if that element is in that list or in that right hand side or not. So if you have a list to check, in operator can do it for you. For example, here I can write print 576 in E square, and this is a boolean. It will return a boolean, and if it is true, it's true is printed. If it is false, for example, if I give a number, different number, it will be false printed. That tells me that whether the number belongs to the list or element belongs to the list or not. Okay. Naif has a different answer. Let us see. Okay, this is list.count. What will count? Count will. I'm not sure if the code is going to work. Dot count. What will this give you? It's checking number of times this is repeating. Oh, so you are trying to see if this is okay. Yeah, then you're checking if there is at least one occurrence, right? Yeah. So this is another style. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So that's a nice. Yeah, that's good. So this is also another way, but straightforward way was to use in operator. But this is also very nice. What here the good thing here is, and the count will be coming a lot. That's why I was confused. When we are going to the data, sometimes you are interested to know how many times the things are being repeated, and then you have this count operator. Count will just count the number of times this value is popping up. And what naive idea is to see if it is at least if there's at least once this value is popping, which is also a nice way to do it. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. So we have so many ways to do it. That's good. Yes. But for okay, why do you have brackets in e square? You don't. I'm not sure if you have brackets, the for statement will work. I think you should not have brackets, but otherwise it is fine. Okay. Otherwise it's fine. Your code looks good, Faisal. Okay. How about
What do you mean, brackets, doctor? I didn't understand you.
uh, usually in for statement, for example, let me copy your code. In the for statement, you just have iterator. You don't have the this one. You don't have these brackets.
Oh, so no need to put it in brackets. Okay.
If you put it in bracket, I think it will not work. In Python, those bracket means it's a tuple. You know tuple, right? So it works, but it should be outside like this. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I understand now. Thank you.
All right. How about number 8? What is the max and minimum number of no number 8 is not remove. Number 8 is, yeah, for that is fine, Hadi. Number 9 is you give the answer for number 9. But how about this max and min numbers inside e square? So where is my e square? Here is the e square. I want to know what is the maximum and minimum number. Okay. Now here I would like to just highlight one important thing about Python. And you have seen a new thing about Python, which is list comprehension. Now let us see the power of this operator, assignment operator. It's very powerful in Python. So you can say, for example, let's say max value and let's say min value you want to calculate. So you can say, for example, max of e square. Okay. Yes, let's call it like m1, m2, and this is the min of e square. Okay. And then you can print it, right? For example, print some typos that we need to fix. So you have 2500 max and 4 min. Now, okay, Al Hassan is trying to use sort. Yeah, that's also nice, but no, for at least for now, all these codes are fine. The alternates are fine, but the moment you have computational efficiency, sometimes some codes are not good. Okay, and the sorting usually is more time consuming than just picking the max and min. But yes, what you are doing is nice. Actually, this shows that you guys know the indexing in the lists. That's good. Okay, but let us look at this. The thing that I want to highlight is, or let me put the question to you now. Can I use a single assignment operator and do this task, the task of these 2 lines? Any suggestions? Can I use a single equal operator and do these tasks? Okay, that's good. So yes, the answer is yes. How? Any ideas? or any hint? That's correct, Mubarak. Yes, that's right. So Python assignment operator is very different from the conventional. Actually, Python itself is a nice language. If you learn Python like Python, it is much more easier than doing these. This is like learning Python like C, which is not good. Okay, but this is nice. Okay. Okay. So remember here you should not have, if you have this, I think, so let us not have this. Okay. So what this operator do now, it does like this. This is the value, past value that I have. This value will be assigned to the first one. This value will be assigned to the second one. Okay. And then if I execute it, I get that's 2504. So that's how the values are being assigned. Okay. You could have 3 values, 4 values, and you can do it in one single assignment. That is something I would say a nice thing about Python. The other thing I would like to explain about the assignment operator is, let us say here, after executing, now what is the value of M1? Let's make it a bit clear. So this is a format string. This is, I think this is recent from Python. It's very interesting. The format string, what it does is, if you have an input in the string, which is coming from variable, you just start with F and give the value in the flower brackets, and that will be the variable. Okay. Okay. M1 is 2500 and M2 is 4. Now my question is, how can I swap the values between M1 and M2? How can I swap the values between M1 and M2? I want now M1 to be 4, M2 to be 2500. How to do that? Oh, so you guys, that's good. Naif gave the answer, which is right. But you learned this in ICS 104? Or that's something that you learned from your side? Okay. So how come Naif knows this?
Actually, doctor, it's a guess, I think.
Okay. Okay, no problem. But it is right. By the way, Python is very intuitive if you see it through the Python. But if you think in terms of C, it will gets messed up. So that is the way you do it in Python. Oops, sorry. So the right-hand side values are the values that are past values, or something that is fixed. They will not change anymore. And the left-hand side values are the values that will be updated. So it says take the value of M2, which is before the code, and that will be assigned to M1. It will take the value of M1 before the code, and that will be assigned to M2. And only in Python, okay, yeah, I can see Naif is doing some extraordinary works. So I hope you guys will be the same up to the end. Okay. So this is a nice way to swap. Otherwise, if you're going with C programming, you cannot do it. Okay. That is okay, guys. Okay. So now, if you do such comments, maybe you will stop him from replying. So please let us be polite, and it's good that we are getting the right answers, but please let us not do such things. So if you are using C or other language, do you think you can use this? Yeah, for sure. And how would you do? How would you go in C language? How would you do such things in C? Yes, that's right, Kumail. You have to create a dummy variable at least to do this. So that's something that you don't have to do it in Python. And remember, yes, that's right, Mubarak. So remember the operator, assignment operator in Python works in a different way. It's a different altogether operator, and it has multiple assignments possible. You can have swap of the variable like update, and it is fine. And also we'll see later on how the arrays are referenced to this. So you don't need any pointers and those, and it is taken care. So that's about bullet of question number 8. And how about question number 9? I think somebody is done, right? Question number 9 was done. Yeah. So you have two different ways to kick an item out of the list. One is like I'm getting the answer. You have dot. Any other answer? Anybody? Can you give me any other way of removing the item? So now you can see the item is removed here. Any other answers? Okay, that's one answer, Majid. That's right. That's also correct. This answer that Majid gave is correct. So sometimes you can kick the element based on the index. If you want to kick the element based on the index, you can say pop. And pop the index. For example, if I count it, it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could give 6. Or here, you remember we got the index, so we can give that index here. Okay. So that's what Majid did. Any other answer? Let us see if I can get some more answers. True occurrence in a list. I think it will remove the first one, but let me confirm because these things sometimes easy to check. So let us check. I think it will remove the first one, I believe, but let us check. The good thing about programming is we can let me, and this should be below that. Then yeah, it removed the first one. Yeah. Okay. But again, whenever you have a doubt in programming, the best way is just to code a simple example and check. You don't have to remember. If you memorize, that's it. So don't memorize things, but just see what will happen if you have a doubt. Just create a small example. This is how I do, Annie. You might have a different way of learning, but you just create a small example and check for yourself. Okay. Any other way? Any other way of popping the element? Okay. So I'm not hearing anything from Naif. I think you guys embarrassed him and he's feeling shy to answer. Please don't do that, okay? Please, everybody participate in the discussion. It will be helpful. We learn things. I will learn from you guys, and for sure, you guys learn among yourself. But please let everybody participate. You can use indexing instead of pop. You could use the slicing, and you could also remove the elements. Okay. And there are many things that you can do, but this is enough. Okay. So that's the first part. All right. Now we move to a next topic, enumerate. Have you seen this enumerate in the ICS 104? Have you seen the usage of enumerate? Yes, no? Okay. So enumerate is another powerful technique, and the reason why we are going over these is because they will be used heavily in the future chapters. So let us try to understand what enumerate is, and for that we have some exercises. Okay. Let us say you have a list like this, list of some strings. Now you want to sort the above list in the ascending order, ascending alphabetical order. So start with A in the dictionary order. Start with A and go to Z. So how to sort it? I think you know how to sort it, right? You just use. Let me just copy this and let us do it together. So that's the list. Okay, that's one sorted. Or if you want to, sorry. If you want to change it in place, you can just use dot sort and then now it is sorted. So you have two. One gives you the list. For example, if you use sorted, you have to assign it to a new list. Or dot sort will change in the same list. And you have two options. Whichever one you prefer, you go. Yeah. And now for the sorted list, you have to do this. For the sorted list, for each element, prefix the value by its position. For example, in here, apple is in first position, so it should have a value updated like 1.apple, 2.banana, so on and so forth up to last one, watermelon. It should be 9.watermelon. So help me in getting this, modifying the list. You can create a new list or modify the existing, which is fine. It's better to create a new one. Okay, let's create a new list. So first any suggestions? See, in the end, our goal is to create a list, right? And bullet number 3, what is the task? What is the ultimate task? To create a list? Yes, no? Guys, are you with me? Still, we have 10 minutes. Okay, so let me just, so here you have a list like this, apple, banana, and you have some fruits, and they are sorted. Now what I want is, I want to have a list where I have the elements like this, 1.apple. The second element is 2.banana, so on, and the last element is 9.watermelon. So I want to create a list which has elements, not these, but a different one, like 1.apple, 2.banana, so on and so forth. Why 1? Because apple is the first in the list. 2 for banana is the second one. The 3 for grapes because it's the third, so on and so forth. Okay, so we are in the end going to create a new list, right? We are creating actually a list. So whenever you have to create a list, what is the right way in Python to create the list? It's the list comprehension. Okay, the list comprehension, the one that we have seen just now. Okay, so you can use for loop or you can use list comprehension. Yeah, you can do that, but you see that most of our slides will be list comprehension because it's efficient and yeah. Okay, that's good, Mubarak. But why do you have list? You don't have to have list. Okay. Yeah. But even then you can do better. That's what, yeah, what you did is good. but I just let me copy something, and I want to highlight that this is exactly the purpose of enumerate. So tell me exactly what is happening here. Tell me what exactly is happening here. So here, what the len of fruits is giving you the number of elements in that list, right? Okay. So let me, I think it's, yeah. So here, this part is giving you the length of the fruit, which is, let's say, 9. And then from there, yeah, 9, yeah, 9 or 8, whatever, some number, okay? And from using this number, then you're doing the range and creating what? Of course, what do you get if you do the range 9 or range 0 to 9? You will get the range object, the generator, okay? So that's actually indirectly you're creating a range object, which will become list, okay, later on if you want. So you already had list, right? You already had list fruits for which you calculated the length, and from where you're getting the range. So you're getting a new list of the same size as the old list by this, like, a circular way. This is exactly we would like to avoid. This is something that you do in C programming and those languages, but in Python you don't do this. And how to overcome this? This is exactly done like this, enumerate. So to show what enumerate does, let me do it for this thing for you. Let us say for E in what will this give me? You guys know, but just tell me what will I get by executing this code, line number 7, 8. Yeah, the fruits one by one. Okay, that's here. Now I'm going to use this enumerate command, and I'm going to say here I comma E, and let us see what we get. See here, I gives the index of the element, so you don't have to do that range len. Okay, whenever you're doing range len of list, it means you should have used enumerate, and enumerate is much more fast and better and easy to understand than that. So what it does, it's enumerate is like you can say like an engine that takes the list and gives two values out. The element is captured in E and the index is captured in I. Okay, yeah, it starts with 0, and that's true, right? This is the 0th element in the list. Okay, and how to change the number? Yeah, you, like Majid suggested, you'll do the changes. But given a list, this is the 0 element, this is the first element, this is the second element. So that's true. It should start with 0, otherwise there is something not right. Okay, so for every list, whenever you have to get the information of the index, you use enumerate. So knowing this, let us create our list. So to create our new list, let's call it new, any name is not that important here. You can say here, I'm going to say I plus E, but we have to change a couple of things. So here I cannot add. See, E is the text, I is a number. So let me convert that to a string. And then also I need to have the dot. So I need to add my static string. Okay. And I think I should have +1. Yes. So now let's go back to our understanding of list comprehension. It has two parts again. Here is the element that we want, and here is the loop that we have. So here's a number. So it says I'm getting the numbers from all the fruits, which is correct. And here it says take the fruit and put it here, and the index, and this is static string, and this is how you append to the list. Actually, not append, this is how you're creating the list, which it's easy to understand in terms of append. Okay, but shouldn't they all be in the list? Yeah, they should be all in the list, and that's why it is list comprehension. So all of these things, they will be added to this new list. Okay, remember, this is list comprehension. Here you see the square brackets, those are the list comprehensions. Okay, now let us print it. Okay, and you get the list that you want. Okay. Okay, so that is the power of enumerate function, and it is very common to use enumerate. And now you have to remember two things. First thing is, whenever you are creating, you have to create a list, think first about using list comprehension, because this comprehension is made for the purpose of creating lists. And it is two simple steps. You have something to append and something to loop on, and you can have your own version of what to append and what to loop on, and it will be very straightforward to code. And if you are using range of len of list, that means it's wrong. It has to be done through enumerate. Okay, all right, so that is, and we're running out of time, so maybe from the next on, next bullet we can start in the next class. So I'm going slow, and when I upload the slides, I would want you guys to also work on it. This first couple of classes on Python will go slow so that we all understand. I know some of you are participating in the discussion, but there are some names in the class who are still not participating. So those guys who are not participating, please participate. If you are wrong, that is okay. But if you're not participating, then it's a problem. That then I don't know whether you're finding it difficult or whatever. Okay, I need to get a response. Otherwise, I will call your names for the next class, and you should have to answer. Okay, so please don't make me do that. You guys, please participate. Everybody, please participate in the discussions. There are also marks for discussion. Okay. Yeah. Yes, Al Basil.
Can you upload the slide in our section until they open the comment section?
Yeah, I can do that, but I hope it will be done today. But if not, I will upload it in our section. No problem.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, guys, we'll stop here. If you have any questions, you can send a text on MS Teams. Otherwise, we'll close the session. So have a good day. I hope you will be participating more in the next classes.